Hello everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm really cold right now, but it's supposed to be spring, but it's like really cold today. Anyway, as you guys saw in the title, we'll be ranking my cream bronzer collection. You guys asked and I answered. So I actually did a poll on my channel. If you guys don't follow my community tab, I would check it out every now and then just because I like to do polls for different video ideas, different product recommendations, that kind of stuff. And I did a poll between like ranking my lip balms, my tinted moisturizers, and my cream bronzers. And cream bronzers just have the highest right now. I will eventually do all three categories, but for now we're going to start with cream bronzers. I'm so excited. First, if you guys like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button, and without further ado, let's just get started. Before we jump into the ranking, I do have two honorary mentions. So lucky number, the first two I want to mention. First, I was gonna say lucky number one. Not number one because it's not in the ranking, but first product I gave an honorary mention. This is the Colourpop Super Shock bronzer in the shade Dream Vacay. This is my favorite bronzer in the whole wide world. The reason why I'm just like, I don't know where to put this, because it's not like necessarily just a powder, but it's not necessarily a cream either. And so the way I was kind of like, my deciding factor was that I wouldn't necessarily wear a powder product on top of this, but I also wouldn't wear a cream bronzer underneath it. Whereas most of my powder products, I could wear a cream bronzer underneath it, and then vice versa. Most of my cream products, I could wear a powder product on top. This one, I would do neither. It's kind of like that cream to powder formula. So I didn't know whether to count it or not, but this is my number one favorite of all time right now. And so even beating some powder bronzers and all these cream bronzers, this is my number one. I wanted to mention it just because I love it so much, and I didn't want to sway you into thinking like this one I don't like. No, this one's my favorite. Like, I recommend this. I love this formula because again, it's that cream to powder where it's just a very creamy consistency, but it ends up lasting like a powder, looking like a powder on the face, where it's a little bit more like, you don't put it underneath powder so it doesn't fade a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? You don't need to set it up with anything. And so I just wanted to mention that there's only like $6, $9, $7, $8 maybe. They're super inexpensive, under $10 for sure. They're so good and I'm obsessed. So I wanted to give that a mention because I wear this all the time, and I definitely wanted to let you know that that would be number one if I included it in this. But because it's like such a weird product, I didn't. And then the other product, this honestly would probably rank really, really high. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand. It's the contour in the shade Medium Tan, but I've only used it like twice. And so honestly, I'm like, that's not a really good representation of the product, and like, that's not a really good way to rank it, or a good, it wouldn't be like beneficial to you, I feel like, to rank it, because honestly, the love I have for this is a lot of the hype that's with it being new and now, and so I feel like I couldn't give a good thing. But honestly, it's a really nice formula. It's super creamy, it's blendable, it looks so smooth and just beautiful on the face. And then this shade Medium Tan is really nice because it does have a little bit of contour aspect, like a contour coloring to it, but it's not super like gray or anything like that. So it works for my skin tone great. I wanted to give it a mention because it would rank really high, but I feel like, again, it's so new that it's like, I love it because it's so new, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to give that one a mention. I'm not including that one. Now let's jump into the ranking. Freaking have 11. I was like, oh, we have 10. No, we have 11. So we have 11 products here. 11 is, I'll start off with number 11, which is the e.l.f. Luminous Putty Bronzer. I have the shade Sun Chaser. And the problem with this, I actually genuinely like this formula. I like this way better than I like the original Putty Bronzer formula because it is a little bit creamier. The problem I have is that this little thing, I understand, like, it's just so little. I'm like, my bronzer brush barely fits in this. I have to use like a super like precise brush, and then it doesn't like, it's just so annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Like, and honestly, the formula is great, and it's just inconvenient to be honest. I just don't reach for it a lot. There are plenty of other packagings, even like the Beauty Light wand, or like, you know, any other packaging. Even just if you gave me a little bit bigger of a packaging, I would enjoy this that much more, because it's really just so inconvenient how freaking small it is. And I know not everyone really cares that much, but I feel like, I don't know, I just don't, like, my foundation brush is a little bit too big for it. Like, my sponge, I can't get a sponge in here if I want to use a sponge. Like, it's just a really inconvenient. The formula is nice. I just feel like it's a little bit drier, a little bit more stiff than I go for. You'll see every single other product after this is super, super creamy. And honestly, this is the only bronzer that I would genuinely say I don't like, you know? That eventually I'll probably declutter, or I only bought it because I wanted to, like, you know, I love e.l.f. I do, and I know that their brand is super hyped, their videos get a lot of views, like, I'm just being 100. That's why I keep this on deck. But honestly, it'll go as soon as probably the next declutter because I just don't love it that much. But this is the only one I feel that way. Every other cream bronzer I love and I honestly will keep for a long time. I just have to keep playing with them, using them. There just has to be ranked. Something has to be at the bottom. And that one's the only one that deserves to be at the bottom. The rest of them are so good. So that being said, lucky number 10, which again, like being 10 out of 10, it sounds bad, but it's 10 out of 10. Like, this is how many cream bronzers have I tried over my life? 20, 25, you know what I'm saying? But that's the She Glam Sun Sculpt Liquid Contour in the shade Warm Honey. And I honestly, there's nothing even bad about this. There's no complaints. I like the formula. I like the shade. I actually did say I did want to make sure I swatch them. I didn't say that, but I wanted to make sure I swatched them. This is just such a stiff and dry formula. Oh my gosh, I can't deal with it. But here is the e.l.f. one up here. We're just going to do hand swatches because I didn't want to take off my sweater because I'm literally freezing. And then here's the She Glam. There's no complaints. Maybe it's the shade that I just don't wear a lot. I don't know. Here it is here. The formula is super nice. I think it is a little bit more, like you have to take a little bit more time with this, like building it up, blending it out, that kind of thing. And it's not because the formula is bad or anything. It's just a very simple, beginner-friendly product. It's just a good cream bronzer. You know, it's very basic, but very, like lightweight, buildable, like that kind of stuff, which I always don't always want because sometimes I just want to put it on and go. I don't want to have to build it or use a brush, then a sponge, like, you know, kind of combo it. But I really do like these, and for the price, you cannot go wrong. Again, everything else I just like more, and so that's obviously going to be the theme of this. Because lucky number 9, honestly, is really, really nice. I really like this little duo. I just have to continue to use it. I have the shade Dark. It's from Love. I keep wanting to call it Revolve, which I think would have been a better name, but it's Love by Revolution. And this is the cream contour in the shade Dark. You can get this for $2-3. I honestly am just gonna swatch this one because this one's obviously the darkest out of every single one I have. Oh, I'll swatch it. Maybe I'll swatch them both. But anyway, this formula is nice because it's creamier, but it's not too overly creamy. I found just some cream bronzers. Here's the darker one, and then here's the lighter one. I obviously mixed the two. I've just found so many products can be too creamy, and it's just so annoying. But this one is better off than the e.l.f. because it's a little bit creamier than the e.l.f. one, and so that's why this one's a little bit higher. I do like this a lot. I think for a drugstore price, it is perfection. It blends so easily. I do have to mix the products, and obviously the shades are not perfect, so you know, those little things make me reach for it less and less and less compared to all the other products. But I do think the formula is super, super nice. It's not the creamiest of the creamiest. It's not the creamiest of the creamiest, but hold on. It's not the creamiest of the creamiest, but it's a really, really nice formula for the price. And if you're in a pinch on a budget, I 10 out of 10 recommend. I do think, again, that's the kicker as well. It's really great for the price point, where it's not necessarily going to be better than the high-end ones or better than the ones you spend a lot of money on, but it's really, really nice. Again, here are the two shades here. This is going to be a fun arm swatch. Okay, next we have the Tarte Sculpt Tape contour one. This is the Double Duty Beauty, whatever, they have a million names, in the shade Cool Bronze. I really like this too. Again, being so low is so hard right now because I love all my cream bronzers. I'm a cream bronzer hoarder, I've learned. There are so many more I want too. I want the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer. I want the Merit Beauty one. So many. But here's the Tarte one here. Again, oh my gosh, like 50 Shades of Brown. But I really like this. The shade is just what's not my favorite. And it was kind of hard to pick my shade. There was not that many options, but the shades that were on there like either looked too dark or too, like, it was just really weird. So I honestly had a hard time with that, and I think that's what knocked it points, is that it's not my favorite shade, and it's also, like, it was really hard to find my shade. So for being this expensive, like, come on, have a lot of shades. But yeah, it's a really nice formula. You can even tell, like, the difference between, like, the super creamy one, like, super luminous one, and then the more, like, natural kind of finishing ones, and this one has a little bit of glow to it too, but it's just not my favorite shade. I do like the formula. I do think it's really good, but it's like, for the price point, you better be freaking good. Like, stop trying to play me. You need to do what you say you're gonna do because you're expensive, and so that's why, again, it's so low, but it is really, really good, and I do enjoy it a lot. I just have better, for first of all, better prices that are better prices, but also better shade matches, just a lot of things, so that's why it's so low. not solo, but that's why it's down there. This one too is another shade kind of thing. This is the Huda Beauty Tantour in the shade, it's the Contour and Bronze Cream in the shade Light. The problem with this too, and like usually it's hard to knock things for shades because obviously I picked the shade, and so I want to make sure like I'm making that known. Like I picked the shade, it was my screw up, so I'm not going to fault the product for that unless the product shade ranges are crap, you know? And so that's what I mean when I'm talking about the shades here. The She Glam one, I definitely just picked the wrong shade because it has quite a few shades, but that's why I don't reach for it. And it's not my favorite, so that's where it's rightfully placed. But like the other two, like the Relove by Revolution, the Tarte, and even the Huda Beauty, like the shades are just, it's the brand's fault for the way they did the shades, not me, not my picking skills, you know what I mean? Like this is the shade Light, this is so dark, and it's been that way. This is not a new product by any means, but like, oh my gosh, guys, like that is the shade Dark. By whose definition? Like that is, I mean, that's the shade Light by whose definition? You know what I mean? Like that is even dark for me, and I'm like more medium tan. So I'm like, for light, I'm not light in anything. Like, why would you do that? And so that's why it's so low, but I love this formula. It is so creamy, so blendable, so smooth. It's definitely my favorite out of the bottom of the food chain right here, but obviously the color is not the best, and it's so stupid. Like, why did the brand do that? But I love this formula so much. I've had this for quite a while now, and I will continue to use it because it's so pretty, and I need to use it way more, but it takes a little bit of finessing because I have to make sure, you know, like I can, like I said, make sure the foundation color is a better, like my foundation's a good match for me so that I can, you know, blend it, whatever, just make it sure it looks good. And so it takes a little bit to make sure, so I can't use it every day, and obviously I have plenty to go through, but like also this is one that I like to top most of my cream bronzers with powders, but like this one's hard because I'm like, okay, it looks a little too dark, like it's all over the place, you know what I mean? So that's why it's a little bit more finicky. Okay, so that's bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we're in the top 6, but we have the NYX Wonder Stick, and I love this thing so much. I have the shade medium. This is a really good bronzer stick, and honestly, all my other bronzer sticks, this one is a really good drugstore option. I don't think I have any. I only have 3 bronzer sticks, but this is the only drugstore one. And honestly, it is so good. Look at the shade. The shade is really nice, but this formula is super, super creamy. It's just not overly creamy. It doesn't like blend away into nothing. It's nicely pigmented where I feel like a few stripes and you're good. You could blend it out. You could build it up if you want to. You could sheer it out if you want to. It's a very versatile kind of product. Obviously, the downfall of this is, why is there a highlighter on the other end? I don't know. Like, come on, NYX. You could have just give me this one product, and this would have been like probably a holy grail for life because it is so good. NYX products are a little bit pricier too for the drugstore, so it's like hard to justify, just be like, yes, go get it, you know what I mean? But if you can find your shade in that, because also there's only a few, I would definitely recommend. I totally ignore the highlighter at all times. It literally counts as just a cream bronzer for me, and I love this formula so much. I think it's so good. Again, it's number 6, so there are some that I just like better, but this one is really good. It's kind of like faultless at this point, but it is nice. Next we have the Soul Body Face and Body Bronzing Balm in the shade Medium Dark. I love, love, love. Look at how big this is. It's nice. It's huge. You got space to work with it. The formula is nice and creamy. It's not dry it's not dry in any way, shape, or form. It just looks so pretty. The colors are beautiful. They have a few. It smells delightful. It smells like summer. But they have quite a few shades, which is awesome for all of you. And this is the shade, again, Medium Dark, which honestly is so light. Like, I feel like this would be medium dark and this would be like medium. I don't know, but anyway, just now being nitpicky, I love this formula so much. I think it is so blendable, so creamy, so smooth. It lasts all day. It lasts so beautifully on the face. And I just think this formula is fault-proof. I do think like there's too much product in this thing for anyone to ever go through, but it's supposed to be for your body as well, which I don't use it for, but it just really depends. But I'm like, honey, there's too much product in this for my face, but I love it. I love the tone of this color. I think it's so beautiful, and so I'm obsessed. So I had to definitely put that a little bit higher. This formula too, probably if I had it in a single, it probably would be my number 1 or 2, but it's number 4 for now. But I just love it because I love this freaking bronzer, and I honestly want the single. I've been thinking about it. I thought about it in this one moment. This is the Tarte Breezy Cream Blush and Bronzer Palette, but I'm talking about the Tarte Breezy Cream Bronzer Formula. You guys know how much I love that thing. I went through a mini size. This is such a good creamy bronzer that just glides on the face so beautifully, and it just leaves this flawless, like, bronze kind of look. The color's a little bit light for me when I get tan. There are only 3 options, I think, in the, it's hard. I don't even know if you can buy them anymore. You might be able just to buy the original and the deep. The shades suck, basically, but this formula is so good that I had to put it higher even though the shades suck, because this formula is so good. It just glides on the face, melts into your foundation. It just, nothing looks this good, honestly. I mean, okay, a couple of these are really close, but, and obviously I don't reach for it that much because it's in the palette form for now, but again, this is one of the only cream bronzers I've ever used up entirely, although it was a mini, and like, that's saying a lot because the formula is superb. And honestly, again, if it was in a mini, it probably would be a little bit higher, and obviously the shades make it a little bit lower because I can't use the shade all the time, all year long. I do have the deeper one too, but I like the shade Seychelles. It's just a beautiful tone. It's so natural on my skin tone when I'm a little bit fair. It's just perfection. But we have to go with top 3, and these are perfection as well as the thing, so I'm not trying to dog on my top 3. I'm just saying, like, this one is so good that, and it makes me so happy that if it was in a single, it probably would be higher, but again, the palette knocks it off a few. But these 3 are so freaking good. I think cream stick bronzers are the easiest form. So of course, number 3 is the LYS No Limits Cream Bronzer Stick in the shade Harmony. I love this stuff. I do think the shape is, I had to kind of, between this one and another one, I had to sit there and be like, what is it that, like, why I don't reach for this that much? It's the shape. I feel like the shape takes up, like, I don't know why the shape is. I feel like the other one is just a little bit more precise. I don't like the triangle, which is so stupid and nitpicky, but I had to decide something to make it a little bit lower. And then the shade is a little deep for me year round. I can basically only use this in the summer, which is nice because I like having I like having all the different shades, if you can't tell. I enjoy that because I feel like when you have so many good cream bronzers, something has to differentiate between them, and obviously the shade is what is for the most part. But I have the shade Harmony, and this is the second shade up, I believe. And oh my gosh, it's dark. I'm like, dang, man, you're freaking looking like Huda Beauty light Tantor. So it's like hard. That's why it's not like number 1 or number 2 even. But I enjoy this formula so much. It is so creamy, so easy to use. It's so like, if you have the right shade, it becomes like foolproof even. You just put it on and you just go about your day. You just blend it in and melts into your foundation, melts into your face. It just looks so flawless. The formula is superb. This is literally a perfect formula, and I know I've said that a lot about these formulas, but this one is so perfect. It's like the most perfect. It also has like a more radiant kind of luminous finish, which I appreciate. You can see the rest of them kind of dry down to their true states, and like that one's super luminous. That's She Glam, which I appreciate, but the rest of them are a little bit more matte. This one is kind of has a little bit of luminosity to it, which I really like. All right, so then next we have the Rare Beauty bronzer stick, Happy Soul bronzer stick, and this is the one that I was kind of just like between LYS and Rare Beauty. I honestly think the formula is so similar. The LYS is a little bit creamier, has a little bit more, you can even see on there, a little bit more dew. I don't know what that is, like luminous, a little bit more juiciness. This one, the Rare Beauty, is a little bit drier of a formula, but I honestly, first of all, looking at it like that, putting it on, the change is so minute, it's not even funny. Oh crap, that was the wrong side. My bad. Whatever. The shades between them are pretty drastic. Honestly, this one I like to use for a while. I just joked, like, honestly, when I had a way smaller cream bronzer collection, I joked around like, I only needed these 2 in my collection. This was for winter, this was for summer, and it was perfect because honestly they're like the same exact formula, pretty similar formula. I just like the roundness to this better. I think it's just a little bit more precise. I can make it a little bit smaller, go under my chin a little bit easier. It doesn't get everywhere. I know it's like, you know, you have to pick something because there's a reason why I'm reaching for the Rare Beauty a little bit more than the LYS. Obviously the shades are a big one, and obviously it's on me. Rare Beauty did just release more shades. I think LYS still only has 3, maybe 5, something like that, like a small amount. Rare Beauty just released a few more, but honestly, you can even see like the formulas look so similar on the hand. It is so insane. but I love them both so much. And the Rare Beauty is a little bit pricier than the LYS, but I honestly like the Rare Beauty a little bit better, like the slightest bit better. And so again, it's like not even that deep. You could be okay with either one if you could find your shade in either one. That's what I always said too. Like if you can find your shade in whichever one, you have a better shade match in, just buy that one, because you're not really missing out without getting the other one. Okay, lucky number one, last but not least at all, this is my favorite, the Milani Liquid Contour in the shade 02 Ginger. I love this stuff. And again, the e.l.f., honestly, I don't think the e.l.f. would beat this one, because I love this tone for myself. Obviously, this one's more of a bronzer. The e.l.f. is a little bit more of a contour. Let's sit here. I know it's hard to see. This is like the perfect like bronzerish kind of shade for me, because it's just like this warm, juicy, sun-kissed kind of vibe. The formula is super easy. The applicator is disgusting, but the formula is so easy. It blends like a dream in seconds. Like this is seconds. You don't even have to blend it because it blends itself. It's just like boom and you're good to go. I love the color, love the tone. This is only like 10 bucks. Love the price tag. I love this, and I honestly think that this is has become super underrated, just because so many brands have decided to do this. People forget about this one, but I'm here shouting it from the rooftops. This is so freaking good. If you can find your shade, I think there are only like 3 shades in it. Also, that sucks, but it is so bomb. I'm gonna swatch the e.l.f. contour real quick. You could see the difference in shade here. This is the e.l.f. one. I'm like, what the heck? I do feel like I do a good swatch, and then when I turn my arm, you can't even see it. But this is the e.l.f. one here, and then that's, you can see the difference in shades. Like this would be a good, this is like the drugstore versions of LYS and Rare Beauty. Like these 4 like completely. And then lucky number one is Colourpop, you know? Like that I would be so okay with. The rest of these I just love to have on deck, obviously. And I really like the NYX one from the drugstore. Like so many, I said it all. I don't know why I'm going back to repeat it. I just love talking about products I love. But you can find a really good cream bronzer for a really good price. So if that's why you're watching this video, you know, don't splurge just because, you know, people say you need to splurge. You can find a really good cream bronzer for a really good price. And I honestly, again, I rank these based on like how I'm using them, why I reach for this over this and that kind of stuff. But honestly, like looking at the nitty gritty, like do I need the Huda Beauty, the LYS, the Rare Beauty? Not necessarily. The Tarte, not necessarily. I don't need them because I have drugstore ones that do the exact same thing. I just reach for one more of the other, maybe because the price is a little bit higher. So, you know, I'm like, okay, I gotta get my money's worth. Like there are different reasons why they rank the way they rank, and I tried to say as much as I can, but obviously I don't get to every single thought I have when I'm picking out my cream bronzers for the day. So that's just being, so I just wanted to say that just in case you're like, oh, well, dang, now I need to get the LYS, the Rare Beauty, and that's it. No, like don't get me wrong, like some of these get used because a little bit higher up or a little bit more, because I'm like, okay, well, I paid more for this. So, you know, like those thoughts cross my mind from time to time. Just keep that in mind. And again, my number one is the drugstore one, which is the love of my life. So definitely just, again, keep that in mind. Price, don't sit here and buy based on price necessarily. Buy based on what your preferences are. If there's anything I said that tickled your fancy or was like a turn off, obviously keep those things in mind. So yes. That is it for this video. Look at my, maybe I'll make the thumbnail like this. That is it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.